Hello, everyone. My name is Mordecai, and today we are going to talk about similar tragedies. I'll be talking about the Cadell Toy Factory fire and the Triangle Shirtwaist fire. Not so much about the details of each, but the similarities between the similarities and circumstances surrounding the fires, and how these two tragedies served and should continue serving as lessons for everyone. The Triangle Shirtwaist fire took place on March 25, 1911 in New York, and the fire lasted for about half an hour. It led to the deaths of 146 workers, most of them being young women. The Cadell Toy Factory fire was a tragedy that occurred in 1993 in Thailand. It has been described as the worst industrial disaster in Thai history. This fire led to the deaths of 188 workers, most of them being young women too. The first similarity that can be observed between the two tragedies is that the two factories employed people from poor backgrounds, people who did not have anyone to fight for their rights or did not have time to fight for their rights themselves, because they needed to dedicate that time to making money so that they can be able to feed their families. And the other similarity that can be observed is that the causes of the fires, they were not accurately determined, but the Triangle Shirtwaist fire was said to have been caused by carelessly discarded cigarettes, and while the Cadell Toy Factory fire is said to have been caused by a carelessly discarded cigarette as well, although there are several other theories that were proposed by investigators who were investigating the Cadell Toy Factory, such as the fire might have been caused by a spark from the electrical panel, which had jammed onto a nearby flammable material, which had then ignited and caused the fire to spread. The second concern, the other concern was that there was highly flammable material that was near the workers, where the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory workers used to see that there was a lot of flammable materials, which led to the fire spreading more quickly. And the Cadell Toy Factory, the building where the fire started, there was a lot of flammable materials near where the fire started, and this led to the fire spreading quickly and uncontrollably. Another similarity that we see is that there was inadequate supply to be able to put out the fire for the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. If there were enough fire extinguishers in the area, the workers could have tried to contain the fire and find another route of escape instead of jumping to their death. And the building that housed the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was a fireproof building, but the owners did not care enough to put sprinklers in the work area where the workers used to sit in and work. This goes to show that the owners really did not value the lives of their workers, but rather the lives of the building. The Triangle Factory workers suffered horrible deaths where they leaped from the 9th floor to their deaths, even that the firemen nets could simply not be able to hold their weight. The city let them down by letting a building be built that was 10 stories high, while the firemen ladder could only reach up to 6 stories high. The Cadell Toy Factory workers can be simply said that they were let down by the factory owners, who had barely any fire safety regulations or equipment in that building, and that the little fire that was detected at first might have been put out if there were adequate supplies. But since there was a lack of adequate supplies, the fire spread more quickly and became uncontrollable. Another factor that greatly contributed to the tragic deaths of the factory workers was that in both cases, the arrangements of the exit doors was poor. And for the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, one of the exits was actually locked so that the owners could prevent theft. And this, because of the locked exit, there was not enough space for the workers to exit, and this led to their deaths. Compared to the Triangle Factory first responders, the Cadell Toy Factory first responders arrived too late to the scene to even put out the fire or rescue, since there was traffic that kept them from reaching the toy factory. And the country in generally had let down the workers because they had no exits or roads that could enable emergency vehicles to pass without being stuck in traffic. The most important similarity is that no one really was held accountable for the fire. Triangle Factory owners claimed that they had no idea that the exits were locked, and they also claimed that they had no idea how the workers were being paid, since they used third parties to hire and pay the workers. These were reasons enough for them to not be held accountable. The Cadell toy factory executives were also not held accountable for the fire because they claimed that one worker had been responsible for the fire and therefore he suffered the consequences, which he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The rest of the executives were left free and did not really suffer any consequences for their not so much adherence to emergency policies. Despite the workers having died and families really having gained nothing and lost their loved ones, the factories made a profit from the deaths of the workers. They claimed insurance for the fire damage and made a great profit from the insurance, and they also claimed workers had died and they also got paid for that. So what impact did they have? The impact was that after the fire, the Cadell toy factory fire, nothing much changed in Thailand, and it has been approximated that the death toll rose from 1.2 million to 2.3 million annually of people dying at their workplaces. In the United States, there were laws that were being proposed so that they can be able to control fire and that they can be able to incorporate fire safety into work areas. Thank you.